The commissioning rite would be with the imposition of a cross. The cross becomes a service cross. Ang tawag ng ibang community doon, no? Service cross. So whenever they commission ministry heads, whenever they commission other people in the community, they give them their service cross that they will wear whenever they are in service. So, pero ang maganda to sa ating second talk kahapon, we made use of the Stations of the Cross of John Paul II to reflect deeper ano ba ang leadership under the sign, leadership under the shadow of the cross. Probably the people in the community can share that to those who have come later in this weekend. I would even encourage na siguro you can use it as a format to reflect on the way of the cross in the community. No? During one of the Thursdays remaining in Lent. No? Pwede naman, instead of the rosary, instead of the worship, you can just have an opening song, and all of you can take turns reflecting on what were your takeaways na sa ating ginawang reflective study on the way of the cross. No? And you share it with the community. No? Magandang, it's I think a new way, a more dynamic way of doing the way of the cross with the community. Makita nila na hindi lang natin nire-recall ang nangyari sa Via Crucis, kung hindi, meron itong dapat na maging lesson sa atin. And then last night, in the last talk that we had, we revisited the otherwise familiar story of Luke 15:11 to 32. This is the story of the prodigal son and the prodigal father, but this time we reflected on it with a tweak, no? With a tweak, T-W-E-A-K. No? And what was the tweak? We look at the story of the prodigal son and the prodigal father, and we looked at it as a story about Christian maturity. No? Sabi natin, ang pathway ng leadership is not only service, but that we also are formed and we mature in the process. No? And there were certain beautiful things about Christian maturity that we emphasized last night. No? Let me just mention a few. It means going through time. There are things that cannot be speeded up. There are things that cannot be made instant. Yan. Kung nasanay ka na sa brewed coffee, you will not settle for 3-in-1. No? Kahit na additional 500 no? For the 2 days. No? So, yan. No? There are things that you cannot speed up. There are things that cannot be made instant. There are things that are better done in slow burn. Diba? And yung nga, maturity is a product of time. It's a product of experiences that are processed in time. It's a product too of knowing how to slowly see na ang aking buhay is a call beyond duty. No? So, if my leadership is just beyond duty, iba yung words na palaging ginagamit ng marami. Compliance lang. compliance. Ako, gamit na gamit niya sa gobyerno. Sige ho, compliance lang po. Bumili na lang kayo ng fire extinguisher sa amin. Hallelujah. Hindi i-approve yung iyong fire safety certificate kung hindi ka bumili ng fire extinguisher sa kanila. No? Yan ang compliance. Hindi na bali yung iba, basta ito na lang po, number 5. Oh, okay. Baka saan pa tayo mapunta. Okay, so now, let us focus on another beautiful message of the Lord for us this weekend. And I would like to make use of a story coming from the Gospel of Mark. The oldest, the shortest Gospel, Mark 10:35 to 45. No? At itong kwentong ito is part of the readings taken for Lent. But we'd like to take it not only as a Lenten reflection, but a reflection about leadership, and it is the story of the 12 disciples. No? Katatapos lang nila yung kanilang retreat. Saan sila nag-retreat? Sa Caesarea Philippi. No? The Lord took them from Galilee, and they moved closer to the Syrian border, to the border with Ammon, no? The old name of Syria, Ammon. No? At doon sa baba ng highest mountain peak of Israel, Mount Hermon. There, in Caesarea Philippi, the Lord had a heart-to-heart talk with the disciples about who do they think the Lord is. Pagkatapos nun, they started their march, slow march, for a last visit to Jerusalem, where everything will end with the story of the crucifixion and the resurrection. Along the way, sumingit itong si James and John. No? Si James and John, otherwise known as the sons of thunder, Boanerges, no? The sons of thunder. So, let us take the reading from verse 35 of chapter 10. And sabi doon, James and John, sons of Zebedee, came forward to Jesus, and they said to him, probably they whispered to Jesus. No? Sabi na, teacher, we want you to do for us whatever we ask you. No? So, they were trying to ask the Lord for a favor. Since they were going to Jerusalem, kala nila tama yung alingas-ngas that the Lord was going to Jerusalem to re-establish the dynasty of King David. And if that were so, then sabi ni Lord, what do you want me to do for you? Verse 36. They said, grant us to sit, one at your right hand, the other at your left, in your glory. Pag malapit na manalo ang kandidato, ganyan. Marami na lumalapit. No? Oh. So, we want you to give us a seat on the right and on the left. Effectively, that would mean, in the language of the ancient kingdoms, one will be prime minister, the executive officer, and the other one would be the general, the defense minister. Those are the two oldest cabinet positions ever since the time of the kings. So, yun. And so, what do we notice sa opening pa lang ng kwentong ito? We would like to talk and reflect at this moment on the reality of leadership conflicts. Yeah. Leadership conflicts. And most of these conflicts are, the heavy conflicts are not conflicts that have got to do with people on the outside, but they can actually be brewing on the inside. Diba? Mga internal, interior leadership conflicts. And it is a very human experience. Kaya nga tawag nila sa Malacanang the snake pit. Oo, kasi maraming snake dyan, no? Iba't ibang mga ulupong dyan, no? Pero puro ulupong. So, it can happen that with our broken humanity, even as we serve as leaders, we can actually experience the reality of conflicts. And we have to face it squarely. Not even, the most purified community, not even the most purified community is saved from such a conflict. Oo. Sa simbahan, alam nyo, ang snake spit ay ang Vaticano. Oo. Vatican. Kaya unang ginawa ni Pope Francis, pinag-aalis niya yung mga Curia Cardinal. Yung mga matagal na nandoon na mga kardinal. Kasi pag hindi, baka paikutin lang siya ng mga yun. Wala siyang kaalam-alam sa loob. Pope Francis is one of those popes who entered as pope without a background of Vatican bureaucracy. John the 23rd, and even Pius the 12th, and those before them, they were coming from the ranks of the Curia Cardinal. Si John the 23rd was a papal nuncio before he was made pope. No? So, more or less, he has a background of the goings-on sa Vatican. No? Pope Paul VI was a Vatican insider. No? And matalino lang yung kanyang mentor. Nung naging Papa, si John the 23rd, alam niya maraming mga galit kay Paul VI. So, simple, inalis niya si Paul VI sa Vatican. Ginawa niyang Archbishop ng Milano. No? Para medyo malayo muna siya. No? So, when John the 23rd died, Paul VI was elected. He was Cardinal Giovanni Battista Montini. So, he was Cardinal of Milan, but before that, he was a Vatican insider. Si Pope John Paul II was from Poland, but he was a very close friend of the Secretary of State at the Vatican then. No? Si Cardinal Villot, French, who was the State Secretary of the Vatican, the second in command. No? So, alam niya yung mga ikot. No? In fact, doon nakilala si Cardinal Wojtyła. Whenever Cardinal Villot would have an engagement at the Vatican to give a talk, he will excuse himself and would ask Cardinal Wojtyła to speak in his behalf. Doon nakilala si Cardinal Karol Wojtyła ng Poland. Yan no? Cardinal Tagle is a Jesuit trained cardinal from Ateneo. And Pope Francis is the Jesuit. So, may nagpulong. Jesuit to Jesuit. May nagpulong. No? So, ganun yun. No? So, well, hindi naman natin sinasabi politics is bad. There's also good politics. In fact, when you look at the definition of politics, the simple definition of politics is the art of making things done. The art of making things done. Yeah. Kaya kung magaling kang politiko, yan, marami kang pwedeng magawa. Because you know the art of making things done. So, yun lang, nagkakaroon din siyempre ng bad connotation ng politics because of practices that surround doing things. Yan. So, ang community, ganun din. Ano? There are also internal conflicts. And so, you know, when we are Christian leaders in the line of service, we have to be aware of that. Be aware of it. It is ever since time immemorial. Panahon pa ni James and John. No? Meron ng ganon. No? And what does the opening part of the story of Luke 10 show to us? Brothers and sisters, the Christian leader, the biggest challenge of Christian leadership doesn't come from outside, but it comes from a 3-letter word: ego. Alam niyo, pag leader ka, it can become an ego-tripping, sabi nga nila. It can become an ego-tripping. No? And it can be a way by which you begin to see competition, the emergence of personal agenda. It is one of the most important struggles of authentic leadership, to struggle with oneself. To struggle with oneself. Kaya siguro, maganda sa atin, we should try to see what is the greatest mark of our ego. Titignan ko yung sarili ko, ano ang malaking, pinakamalaki at pinakamatalas na karakter ng aking ego. Di ba? So, bawat isa sa atin, meron tayo. Ano yan? No? Meron tayong ganyan. The sharp part of our ego. And we bring that. Even as we are called to serve in the name of the Lord, in the spirit of the cross, dala-dala natin yung ego natin na yan. And that can be one of the struggles that we will have to always be aware of, no? Yung sarili natin. Okay? Then let's continue with verse 38. Sabi doon, Jesus said to them, "You do not know what you are asking." I like the word of Jesus. You do not know what you are asking. Are you able to drink the chalice I drink? Or to be baptized with the baptism with which I am baptized? Let us always remember that as we lead, as we are called to lead, as we say yes to the call to be a searcher in the community and lead the community to new things, the Lord reminds us we are not experts. We are not experts. Ah. So, sometimes we do things that we do not know. Ah. We do things that we do not really know. Ah. So, hindi lang sa kulang yung ating kaalaman, many times it can also be that mali ang ating akala. We have our own personal biases. We take that with us as we serve. We have our own maling akala. And the words of the Lord to James and John might as well be His words to us. Di ba? Siguro every now and then you will hear the Lord telling you, you do not know what you are asking. You do not know what you are asking. You do not know what you are thinking about. No? Or you do not know what you are doing. Pwede rin ganun. Oh? So, hindi tayo experts. Pero yun nga, minsan para tayong si Peter, lakasan lang ng loob. Si Peter, gano'n, malakas ang loob ni Peter. Kaya kung minsan, Peter swallows his words. Si Peter, sabi niya, Lord, kung ikaw yan, sige, ako rin ay maglalakad sa tubig. Pinaglakad siya. Nung nasa gitna na, sabi niya, ano yung nangyayari? Huh? And he started to sing, di ba? Nung sabi ni Lord sa kanya, ikaw kasi maliit ang paa mo. You are a person of little feet. Bisaya pa ba? Yan, no? Pero totoo yun, no? Many times, we lead with blind corners. There are blind corners in the way we lead. Diba? Hindi naman natin alam lahat talaga. No? And I think it adds up to our own need, not only to be humble, but our own need to really do things with faith, confidence in the Lord. No? So, we should not feel bad if every now and then masasabihan tayo ng Panginoon. Kung minsan, madali yan pag narinig mo sa prayer. Pero kung paano kung sinabi ni Lord, sabihin mo nga dyan sa kasama mong yan, you don't know what you're doing. Mas mahirap yun, ha? Pag pinadaan ni Lord yung kanyang message mo sa kasama mo. Hoy, brother, hindi mo alam yung ginagawa mo. Tumigil ka. Diba? But that is a dynamics in the relationship of leaders in the community. Yeah. Very important that we should know how to also take comments, criticisms with people, no? Yon. And take note, the Lord can be saying it to you through another. Diba? Ano ba yung natutunan natin sa ME? Listening to your spouse is listening to God. Diba? Oh. Sa leadership, ganun din. Listening to your co-leader is listening to God. Maaaring padaanin ni Lord sa co-leader mo yung sabihin niya sa iyo. No? Yan, no? Pero we are not experts. No? We are not experts. So, we must always be open to the challenge of pwedeng mali tayo, maling akala, kulang ang ating alam, no? And it's part of, we were talking last night about maturity in time. It's part of maturity in time. No? na we learn these things. No? So, Christian leadership, the biggest challenge is ego. At kuminsan doon na pre-prick yung ating ego, di ba? Pag sinabihan ka. Hindi mo na maalam yung ginagawa mo. It's a prick to ego. Oh. Verse 39, the story continues. They said to him, we are able. Kaya namin. Yakang-yaka yan. Jesus said to them, the chalice I drink, you will drink. With the baptism with which I am baptized, you will be baptized. You know, James will be the first apostle to die. Actually. He will be the first apostle to undergo martyrdom. Si James. How about John? He will be the last apostle to die. First and last silang dalawa. Pero si John, bago mamatay in old age, marami din siya dinaanan. No? One of his great ordeal was to be placed inside a bowl of boiling oil. But he survived the ordeal, no? And so he was just exiled in an island called Patmos, no? Of the area of Turkey and Greece, an island called Patmos. At doon niya sinulat yung Book of Revelations. John. They went through their own chalice to drink, sabi nga ni Lord. Oh? Pero ito yung point ni Lord, sabi niya, you can go through your own challenges, you can drink the cup, you may be able, but verse 40, to sit on my right or on my left, it is not mine to grant. It is for those for whom it has been prepared. Christian leadership, brothers and sisters, is not only the art of giving, being able. It is also the art of receiving. I would like to relate that with our talk on confidence building in the ME. Diba? Sabi natin, confidence building includes the openness to give and the openness to receive. Diba? Palaging two parts yun. To give and to receive. Ganon din sa leadership. No? I am not only called to give, to do things, to be able, I am also called to know how to receive. How to receive things. Bago magpasko, I received a visit from one very important person in the BII. Sabi ko, I must be very important. You visit me before Christmas. Sabi sa akin, may problema, Father. Sabi ko, Leo. Sabi niya, alam mo, Father, ang tagal-tagal ko nandiyan sa BIR na yan. Ang dami na akong dinaanan ng direktor. Tapos sabi niya, itong director ngayon, forgot all the things that I have been doing. And sabi ko, anong ginawa siya? Cold treatment ako, Father, dyan sa bagong director. Worse, sabi niya, I was even dressed down, accused of certain things. So, because it was very hard. The person is looking forward to retirement in a few more years. Sabi nga niya, kung kailan ako pa-retire, Father, doon pa ako nagkaroon ng ganitong experience. Ang dami kong pinagdaan ng direktor. Dito pa ako masisira kung sakali. So, of course, the person is on the receiving end. Kaya mahirap eh. Mas mahirap yung ganyan pag nasa receiving end ka. Hindi mo alam kung ano ang bibigay sa iyo. So, sabi niya, mukhang hindi bibigay sa akin, Father, yung hinihingi kong promotion. Sabi ko, anong gagawin natin? Wala, Father, nagsabi lang ako sa iyo. Wala. Sabi ko, anong magagawa natin? Sabi ko, let's just pray for the person na, okay, nasa receiving end ka ngayon. We don't know din kung ano yung gusto ni Lord sa bagay na to. Bakit dumadaan ka sa ganyan with your work, with your responsibilities. So, just before the beginning of March, the person again came around, mukhang nakangiti. Sabi ko, ano na nangyari? Nako, Father, sabi niya, na-reassign. Na-reassign, Father. So, sabi niya, it's no longer a stance in the office. Of course, marami pang gagawin. Pero, at least, Father, sabi niya, iba naman yung kausap ko. So, that is one of the hard things to happen in our lives, to know how to be on the receiving end. And as leaders, that is part of the entire journey na we can be on the receiving end. You are not always on the giving end. Di ba? Alam niyo, mas madali yung giving end eh. Kasi on your terms yun. On your terms yan, kung ikaw ang giving end. Pero kung ikaw nasa receiving end, naku eh, tagatanggap ka lang. Mas mahirap yan. That's the dynamics of leadership, of service. Okay. Verse 41. When the 10 heard it, they began to be indignant at James and John. Pero mo, inuunahan pala sila. And Jesus called them to him and said, you know that those who are supposed to rule over the Gentiles lord it over them, and their great men exercise authority over them. But it shall not be so among you. Whoever would be great among you must be your servant. Whoever would be first among you must be your slave. Alam niyo po, I think all of us, when one way or the other, we also experience something like this, either in our work, either in our public service, if you are a government servant in the barangay or wherever, but also in the community and in the church. No? We also experience ugly experiences among leaders. Becoming indignant. One of the things I learned to tackle is, yung mga hidden conflicts among lay leaders in the parish. Kanya-kanyang sumbungan. Kanya-kanyang batak sa'yo, kanya-kanyang sumbungan. No? Kala mo, okay naman sila kasi nakangiti lahat. Pag nagsaserve sila, nakangiti. Yung pala I learned. Kaya pala, kasi earlier, I wanted to reshuffle assignment of lectors and commentators. Sabi ko, bakit yung mga ibang lector na yan, di na ma-move sa 9 o'clock yan? Gawin yung 5:30 sa hapon yan. Hindi pala ganun kasimple. Kasi meron pala sila sa kanya-kanyang asosasyon. Asosasyon ng 5:30 lectors. Sila-sila lang doon. Umiikot sila. Sino magbabasa ng first reading, second reading, first responsorial sub, sino ang commentate. Sila lang. Pero hindi mo i-transfer sa ibang oras. Kasi ibang oras, may grupo, may clique din. Sabi ko, wow. Sabi sa akin, Father, binubulabog mo sila masyado. Kasi gusto ko i-shuffle lahat. Sabi, i-shuffle lahat yan, pati ang mga lay minister na yan. No? Walang muhon. No? Ang mga oras ng misa. No? Alisin ng mga muhon. Tahimik sila. Doon ko nalaman. Kaya pala ganun sila. Ito, magkakakilala yan, magkakaklik yan. Katapos ng service, pupunta sa Dunkin, doon magkwekwentuhan, iintrigahin yung susunod na grupo ng mga lektor. Ganon. Oo. So, saksi ang Dunkin at Jollibee. Ngayon, yung lupa ng Inchik doon sa tabi ng simbahan namin, dating gawaan ng hollow blocks, umalis yung gawaan ng hollow blocks. Sabi, ay, salamat sa Diyos. Kasi ang alikabok, kahit anong sweep mo sa simbahan, maya-maya makikita mo, puti na yung black granite ko, puti na. So, umalis. Ngayon, sabi sa akin, Father, McDonald's po ang itatayo ito. Sabi ko, yan na ang bagong tambayan. Diba? Lectors will have meeting at McDonald's after 7 o'clock mass. Ayan, no? Kaya sabi nga namin, pag nagpa-bless yung McDonald's, sabihin natin, huwag na tayo bigyan ng stipend, basta may free pass tayo dyan, kung tayo kakain. Ayos na yan. Makikinabang nun si Father Esti, yung aking assistant na talaga mukhang hamburger. Kasi yung kanyang gusto-gusto. Yan. Anyway, gano'n, So, it's good to go back and see, ano kaya yung ugliest experience ko ng serving with other leaders. Dito, yung 10 nalaman yung ginagawa ni James and John, talaga. They became indignant. So the Lord had to put them together and talk to them about servanthood. And of course, the entire picture ends with the verse in verse 45, sabi doon ng Panginoon, the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. To give his life as a ransom for many. So, our pattern of leadership must always be the picture of Jesus as a leader. Siya yung benchmark. Si Lord ang benchmark ng ating pong leadership. It's good to ask, what is your most inspiring picture of Jesus that you often have in mind when you serve? What is your most inspiring picture of Jesus that you have in mind when you serve? Yun ang parang nagiging mantra, picture mantra mo. Okay, I'm going to serve. Ito yung picture mantra ko, si Lord. Ito siya. And that becomes my inspiration whenever I come to serve the Lord. No? So, yun. Siguro, it's very important to have a kind of a unifying picture of the Lord that would inspire us to serve. Sabi nga nila, a picture paints 1,000 words. So pag nakikita ko, na-imagine ko, itong picture na ito ni Lord, ni Jesus, dito ko hinuhugot yung inspiration ko to serve. So, I think those are some of the beautiful thoughts na pwede po nating hanguin dito sa kwentong ito ng mga disciples who were experiencing their own internal conflicts and intrigues in their own circle of leaders. So, and that is also something that is very real in the experience of leadership even in our communities today. But it's good for you to ask, alin dyan sa mga insights na yan for you is very, very strong yung message sa mga insights na ito. Very strong yung message para sa iyo. But siguro in your personal reflection, I would like you to try to go back and see in relation to experiences with other leaders. What was your most discouraging experience? What was your most discouraging experience in serving with other leaders? Na kung minsan, yun ang dahilan kung bakit you are hesitant to be a leader. Kasi nandun yung ganyang background. Baka maulit na naman. What was your most discouraging? What was your ugliest experience of serving as leader with other leaders. Siguro I'd like you to jot that down. Think of it. Jot it down. Okay. Now, can we count off from here to there and then balik dito? 1 to 4. 1 kayo. Couple, ha? 1. By couple.
1.
Okay.
3.
4.
Tama, nakuha na lahat. Sino ang number 1? Can I ask all of you to study number 1? Okay. So, you will form one group, number 1. And then, number 2, sino ang number 2? Can you raise it down? Number 2. Number 2. Okay. Number 2. Number 3. Okay. And number 4. Tatlo na kayo? Okay. Tama-tama. Okay. Sa number 1, you have somebody, a senior couple, si Glenn at saka si Marlene. You will hold number 1. And then, sa number 2, sino number 2? O yun, tama-tama, may senior couple din. Si Tata at saka si Dong. Ayan. Kasi we need the senior couple for this sharing. Number 3.
Because you said.
Number 3. Yun.
Dalawa.
May senior couple din dito. Si Olive at saka si Yusen. And number 4. At least you are tenured already. Si Gary at si Edna. So you can probably take your seats and scatter somewhere and have this moment to share kung ano yung naging most discouraging moment niyo as couples in service.